said it had treated 8 people with minor injuries. And we'll see what goes on next. Is not that. We're not ready for obituaries. Okay. Ralph's off taking a phone number or a phone call, and the articles are on his side. So what have we got here? I'm going to read Heloise to you because I really don't know what else I can reach. So hang on for Heloise. Cookies, a soft sell or a crisp retort. Dear readers, apparently the debate between crisp versus soft cookies continues. Heloise. Dear Heloise, I've been reading your column for many years. When my sister and I were younger, we told our mom that our neighbor's cookies were better than hers. She asked the neighbor why and was told that shortening in place of butter or margarine made them crispy. I still follow that advice. However, it does clog up your arteries, something terrible. Dear Heloise, I use the standard cookie recipe on the bag of chocolate chips, but the way I make the cookies makes all the difference. Not over baking is the key. I bake them at 350 degrees for 10 minutes, which is perfect. I use a small cookie scoop and never change the amount of flour or the temperature. I let the cookies sit for about 5 minutes before removing them from the cookie sheet. I bake these a lot, and they turn out nice and yummy. From Gail M. Shell game. Dear Heloise, when I hard-boil eggs, I always add a tablespoon of white vinegar to the water, which helps in peeling off the shell when I'm ready to use them. However, recently I ran out of vinegar and in desperation added pickle juice to the water because it contained vinegar. To my delight, it worked perfectly, and the shells peeled off like magic. Angie Z. from Englewood, Florida. Play it again, Sam. Dear Heloise, I love pico de gallo, and I used to have a recipe that you published a few years ago. It was out of this world, but now I can't find it. Would you please reprint the recipe? Beatrice D., Little Rock, Arkansas. Beatrice, I've recently had several requests for my pico de gallo recipe. So here it is. 1 cup coarsely chopped tomato. 1/4 cup coarsely chopped onion. 1 tablespoon fresh cilantro, chopped finely. 2 or 3 serrano peppers, minced. 1/2 teaspoon salt. Stir everything together and mix well. Pico de gallo is best eaten on the same day it's made, although it can be refrigerated for a couple of days. Here in the Southwest, we love our pico de gallo fresh, when all the flavors are at the peak. If you like this recipe, you'll love my pamphlet called Seasonings, Sauces, and Substitutes. Just send a stamped, 70 cents, self-addressed, business-size envelope along with $3 to Heloise, Seasonings, P.O. Box 795001, San Antonio, Texas 78279-5001. By the way, if you like pico, as we call it in Texas, on chips, you'll also enjoy it on eggs, tacos, and even potatoes. Filter foods. Dear Heloise, I have found I can use coffee filters instead of paper plates for lightweight foods. I can get 100 filters for about $1. I read your column every day in the Princeton, Indiana Daily Clarion, Doris E. in Haubstadt, Indiana. A better buffet. Dear Heloise, I make sure the handles of the serving tongs aren't touching the food at the buffet. People's hands are dirty, and if they've touched the tongs and the tongs touch the food could become contaminated. That's really not a bad idea because a lot of people fail to wash their hands, I've noticed. But you can send a hint to Heloise at P.O. Box 79530, San Antonio, Texas 78279-5000, or you can send a fax to 210-Heloise.
Remarkable verbal exchange for Trump and Corker. In a startling verbal assault on the president of his own party, Republican Senator Bob Corker charged Tuesday that Donald Trump debases our nation. with constant untruth, name-calling, and bullying, and will leave behind a sad legacy of damaging division. A furious Trump lashed back over Twitter, calling Corker incompetent, saying he doesn't have a clue, and claiming the two-term lawmaker couldn't get elected dog catcher in Tennessee. The angry exchange unfolded just hours before Trump lunched with GOP senators at the Capitol to try to unite the party around a rewrite of the nation's tax code. The meeting lasted nearly 90 minutes, and Corker said afterward that he and the president did not interact during the meal. Afterwards, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican Kentucky, sidestepped reporters questioning about Corker's characterization of Trump. We're going to concentrate on what our agenda is and not any of these other distractions that you all may be interested in.
Okay.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayeteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600. Radio hosts today are
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson, and we are proud to serve you today. It is now time for the reading of the obituaries, and I'd like to dedicate the reading of the obituaries to my dearly departed mom, Virginia Brantley Robertson, who spent her last 12 years non-ambulatory and unable to see, and would have loved the radio reading service. And of course to Drew Wotanic, who was a reader and recruited me into the service, and to Harold F. Rickman, founder of the radio reading service here at Fayeteville State University. Obituaries. Cumberland County. Death notices. The following deaths have been reported. See upcoming editions of the Fayeteville Observer for complete obituary information. Chester L. Giddens, 85, of Fayeteville Rogers and Breese Funeral Home. Shirley Ann Williams, 65, of Clinton Butler and Sons Funeral Home, Clinton. Wade Goodman, 86, of Clinton Butler and Son Funeral Services in Clinton. Charles Jackson, 72, of St. Paul's, Bulls St. Paul's Funeral Home. Margaret A. Harris, 76, of Rayford Crumpler Funeral Home. Mary P. Knight, 65, of Rayford Bowie Funeral Home. James Thomas Tillman, 87, of Rayford Bowie Funeral Home. Neil A. Locklear, 81, of St. Paul's, Bulls St. Paul's Funeral Home. Daniel E. Underwood, Daniel Edward Underwood, passed away Sunday, October 22nd at Wake Medical Center in Raleigh. He was born in Fayeteville to Theodore and Ruby McLeod. A memorial service will be held at 3 p.m. Thursday, October 26, 2017 in Rogers and Breese Funeral Home Chapel. The family will receive friends from 1:45 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. prior to the service at the funeral home. In lieu of flowers, the family requests donations be made to the Greater Carolinas Multiple Sclerosis Chapter 3101 Industrial Drive, Suite 210, Raleigh. Service is entrusted to Rogers and Breese Funeral Home. Region and elsewhere, Deborah W. Hargis, Debbie Wiggins Hargis of Belmont, North Carolina, passed away unexpectedly early Sunday morning at home. A memorial service will be held on Friday, October 27th at 11 a.m. at Park Street United Methodist Church in Belmont, North Carolina. Condolences messages may be sent to the family by visiting www.woodlawnfuneral.org Woodlawn Funeral Home of Mount Holly is serving the family. Keith D. Lee Slim. Keith D. Lee Slim, 61 of Bun Level, died Friday, October 20th. Funeral Friday at 11 a.m. Cape Fear Conference Headquarters, Irwin. Viewing Dafford Funeral Home, done Thursday, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Burial, Sand Hills State Veterans Cemetery, Fort Bragg. Dafford Funeral Home, done. Furman Baldwin. Furman Baldwin, 57 of Wagram, died Friday, October 20th. Funeral Thursday, 3 p.m. Purcell Funeral Home, Chapel, Laurinburg. Viewing Purcell Funeral Home, Chapel, Laurinburg. Wednesday, 3 p.m. to 6. Burial Spring Branch Matthews. Memorial Gardens, Wagram. Purcell Funeral Home of Laurinburg. Ronnie M. Young. Ronnie Murdoch Young, 39, passed away on October 21st. A memorial celebration will be held at 2 p.m. Sunday, October 29th at the Moose Lodge on Owen Drive in Fayeteville. In lieu of flowers, donations may be made to his wife. Condolences for the family be left at www.lafayette.com. Services for the family are entrusted to Lafayette Funeral Home. Catherine B. Hall. This is Catherine Bunce Hall, 87 of Fayeteville, passed away Tuesday, October 24th. A grade-side service will be held on Thursday, October 26th at 1 p.m. in Lafayette Memorial Park. The family will receive friends prior to the service from 12 to 12:45 at Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. She is survived by her son, Vance R. Hall, and wife, Elizabeth of Fayeteville, a granddaughter, Brittany Edwards, and a great-granddaughter, Lily Edwards.
This is the remainder of the area we're doing now. Zuline Darden Mikado, Pittsboro, North Carolina, age 104, of Galloway Ridge at Fearington, Chatham County, North Carolina, died Saturday evening, October 14, 2017, at the Arbor, Galloway Ridge. Zoo was born in Havana, Florida on January 18, 1913, third oldest of 10 brothers and sisters. You may send condolences, may be made at www.donaldsonfunerals.com, and it says, classy to the end, she is dearly missed by all. And she has a very long story here in the paper. Her name again is Zuline Darden Mikado, age 10104, of Galloway Ridge at Fearington, Chatham County, North Carolina. Joan Elizabeth Jones, Fayetteville. Joan Elizabeth Britt Jones, age 85, of Fayetteville, North Carolina, died on Tuesday, October 24, 2017, at Carolina Rehab in Fayetteville. She was born in Robeson County, January 24, 1932. A memorial service will be held on Saturday, October 28, 2017, at 11 a.m. at the Westminster Presbyterian Church in Fayetteville, with Reverend Rick McDuffie officiating. A time for visitation will be held following the service. In lieu of flowers, memorials may be made to Westminster Presbyterian Church, 2505 Village Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28304. Alma Ramos Ramos, Broadway, died September 22. She was 70. Memorial Wednesday, 7 p.m., New Vision Church, Sanford. Smith Funeral Home of Broadway. Robert Melvin Bryant Sr. of Lumberton, 86, died Tuesday, October 24. Funeral Friday, 3 p.m., Antioch Baptist Church. Visitation prior to the service at the church. Family, 2 to 3 p.m. Burial, Bryant Family Cemetery. All services handled by Floyd Mortuary. Jesse Hunt of Red Springs, 77, died Monday, October 23rd. Funeral Friday, 2 p.m. Bowles Funeral Home Chapel, Red Springs. Visitation, Bowles Funeral Home of Red Springs, Thursday, 6 p.m., 8 p.m. Burial, Dunderrock Baptist Church, Shannon. Bowles Funeral Home of Red Springs. Wilton Lowry, called Jake apparently, 77, of Maxton, died Sunday, October 22. Funeral Thursday, 3 p.m., Smithtown Church of God. Visitation, Richard Bowles Funeral Service, Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Burial, Smithtown Church of God Cemetery, Richard Bowles Funeral Service. Jolie Marcus Matthews, Autryville, 62, died Monday, October 23. Graveside, Friday, 2 p.m. Burial, Sunrise Memorial Gardens, Salemburg, Butler Funeral Home of Roseboro. Josephine Tripp Gilliand, from Anger, 98, died Monday, October 23. Visitation, Memorial Baptist Church, Fellowship Hall, Bowie's Creek, Friday, 6 p.m., 8 p.m. Burial, Graveside, Saturday, 2 p.m. Tripp Family Cemetery, Core Point, North Carolina. O'Quinn Peoples Phillips Funeral Home, Lillington. Johnny Lee Brothers, Rayford, 83, died Saturday, October 21, 2017. Funeral, Thursday, 2 p.m., Bowie Funeral Home Chapel. Viewing, Bowie Chapel, Wednesday, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. Burial, Jackson Family Cemetery, Rennert, Bowie Funeral Home. Ernest Dieter Pauley, 68, of Red Springs, died Sunday, October 15. Graveside, Thursday, 4 p.m. Hillman Grove Baptist Church Cemetery. Burial, Hillman Grove Baptist Church Cemetery. Adcock Funeral Home. Marjorie Holder Friedel, Lillington, 86, died Wednesday. Memorial, Saturday, 4 p.m. Ephesus Presbyterian Church, Lillington. Visitation, Church Fellowship Hall, Saturday, 3 to 4 p.m. Burial, Church Cemetery, O'Quinn Peoples Phillips Funeral Home of Lillington. Renee Edwards Tripp, 64, of Irwin, died Monday, October 23rd. Funeral Thursday, 3 p.m. Irwin Church of God. Visitation, Irwood Church of God, Thursday, 2 to 3 p.m. Burial, Devotional Gardens, Skinner and Smith Funeral Home. Lonnie B. Murphy, Sr., Laurenburg, 89, died October 20. Funeral, Friday, 2 p.m. Jones Chapel, Missionary Baptist Church. Burial, Hillside Memorial Park, Morris. I'll now read the Billy Graham column. Evil and its instruments are nothing if we accept Christ, by Billy Graham. Question. Recently I've been reading some articles about artificial intelligence and things like that, and although I don't really understand them, they do sound kind of frightening. Are computers going to take over the world? From LKR. Answer. We live in a truly amazing world, and we should thank God for every scientific and medical advance that makes our lives better. When I was a boy on my father's dairy farm, computers hadn't even been invented. Now they'll probably be running it. But like almost every other human invention, computers can be used not only for great good, but also for great evil. We can barely imagine, for example, what might happen if an evil government or criminal gang took over our computer networks and turned them against us. Already we spend countless millions trying to protect ourselves from hackers. The real problem, you see, isn't with the computers or the code someone devises to control them. The real problem is within us, within our own hearts and minds. Computers only do what we tell them to do. But what if we tell them to do evil? This is why our greatest need is to have our hearts changed. And that is something only God can do. And this can happen as we turn to Jesus Christ and allow His Holy Spirit to change us. But never forget, ultimately, God is in control of the world, and He alone gives us hope for the future. Even when evil seems to be gaining the upper hand, we know that eventually evil will be destroyed, and Christ will rule with perfect justice and peace. Is your faith and trust in Him? The Bible says, in keeping with His promise, we are looking forward to a new heaven and a new earth where righteousness dwells. Readers can write to the Reverend Billy Graham at the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, number 1, Billy Graham Parkway, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28201. Or call 877-2-GRAHAM. And you can reach someone there.
And dear Abby, married man considers a affair to replace dormant love life. Dear Abby, I'm in my 60s, fit, sexually able, and I desire physical relations. My wife, because of health issues, is no longer interested in sex. In fact, it would be at least mildly painful to her. I recently met a lady my age who is in the same predicament. She has a sexual appetite. Her husband does not. She hinted she would be interested in being friends with benefits. I didn't pursue the hint because it caught me by surprise and I wasn't quick-witted enough to follow up on it at the time. I am wondering if such a relationship is acceptable with today's mores and the circumstances. No, I won't discuss this with my wife. It would only hurt her feelings and strain our relationship. Should I pursue the hint? Dear follow-up, I would not advise pursuing the hint, which appears to me to be more of a full frontal assault, without thinking very carefully. The problem with adulterous relationships is that more often than not, the spouse catches on. If you think that by not talking this out with your wife, you will be sparing her feelings, you are wrong. When not, if she finds out, she will be devastated. As women age, their bodies change and sex can become painful. But that can be remediated in many cases with prescription and other medications. It's possible they could help your wife. Of course, that's not going to happen unless she talks to her OB/GYN about the problem. And that won't happen unless you talk to her. Dear Abby, I was unhappily married years ago and conceived a child by an ex-boyfriend. My son is now 31. I divorced my husband 28 years ago. He knew the baby was not his, but claimed him as his own son. He refused to do the DNA test when we were going through the divorce. He died a few years ago. I am in contact with my son's biological father. They look identical, and my grandson looks just like his father and grandfather. My guilt is consuming me. I want to tell my son that even though he is dead, he knew all his life is gone, he still has a chance to get to know another father who is his blood. On the other hand, I don't want to ruin my relationship with my son and grandchildren, whom I love very much. How can I tell the truth about hurting my son and our relationship? Righting a wrong. Dear writing, better late than never. Your son needs to know that the man who raised him and claimed him as his own was not his biological father, so that he can have a complete medical history. If the birth father wasn't interested in knowing or supporting his son, he sounds more like a sperm donor than a blood relative to me. Do not be surprised if your son isn't interested in knowing more about his birth father than the information I suggested.
And here is the horoscope for today. And again, we will say happy birthday to Larry Ziegler, whose birthday is on the 25th. The horoscope by Stella Wilder. Born today, Larry, you know how to work your way through any sort of obstacle course, unless it is one of your own making. In that case, you may find the way difficult and the egress virtually impossible to find. For any maze that you create for yourself is sure to be one that pushes all your buttons, bring your fears to the surface, and prevents you from moving forward with confidence. Oh, usually the birthday day horoscope is nice. Here, Scorpio, you don't want to misrepresent the truth in any way. Focus on that which is clear and demonstrable. Get expert advice. Sagittarius, make a note of those things that affect you beneath the surface. This will require a little more self-awareness than usual. Capricorn, someone else's odd mood may change yours today without any sort of warning. Be ready to adjust activities accordingly. Aquarius, you're focused on all the right things, but you still may not feel any nearer to a primary goal. Is something real holding you up? Pisces, you may not understand all the ins and outs of a deal struck without your knowledge, but you can still enjoy a profitable day. Aries, your attitude may be in sync with the expectations. Sorry, your attitude may not be in sync with the expectations others have. What adjustment can you make without negative results? Taurus, how you say things will matter more today than yesterday, and less than it will tomorrow. You'll suspect a trend in the making. Gemini, you can accomplish much without exceeding your stress limit by very much. After hours, you'll discover a new way to let off steam. Cancer, you can expect others to talk about you today, but what they are saying may take you by surprise. Your reputation is safe. Leo, you may suspect someone close to you of doing something to sabotage your current efforts, but that's only a misinterpretation of certain coincidences. Virgo, you can expect to get along with most today, but some may challenge you in a way that requires you to keep your distance. Libra, something you did long ago is being remembered by those who were innocent bystanders. You are not out of the woods yet. Well, I don't think anything sounded too happy today. Heavens to Betsy. We like happy things on our birthday. That sounds a little bit gloomy. Okay, let's see. Ralph is gone again, so let me see what I have here. It says, at your library, Dixon, Revenbark, to be part of Writers' Workshop. Do many of you go to the library? The Writers' Workshop returns next month for 2 days of learning and networking for aspiring authors. The program takes place at Headquarters Library, 300 Maiden Lane, on November 4 and 5, and boasts a slate of presenters, including a best-selling authors, writers of children's literature, and award-winning poets. Featured keynote speakers include Deborah Dixon, the author of the acclaimed writing guide Goal, Motivation, Conflict. Dixon shows writers how to use goal, motivation, and conflict to avoid sagging middles and to sharpen storytelling. Celia Rivenbark, a Duplin County native, will speak on finding the comedy in the chaos, which introduces writer to subjective humor. Learn to find the humor in everyday life and incorporate it in writing while avoiding common pitfalls. The workshop is free, is open to anyone. The workshop presenters and their presentation are Jody Bailey, Creating Characters the Hollywood Way; Sharon Williams, Creating an Author's Platform; Linda Ashman, Writing Picture Books; Rebecca Petruck, Writing for Middle Grade and Young Adult Readers; About Character; Kathy Smith Bowers, Who Says Tension is a Bad Thing; Tyree Day, Getting Ready, an Introduction to Publishing Poetry. Participants will be given a lunch break during the Saturday program to enjoy lunch on their own and may choose to bring a bag lunch. This project is funded by the Friends of the Cumberland County Public Library and the Arts Council of Fayeteville, Cumberland County, which is supported in part by contributions from business and individuals through grants from the City of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, and the North Carolina Arts Council, an agency of the Department of Cultural Resources.
Republicans who oppose LGBT deal want lawsuit. North Carolina's Republican legislative leaders want a judge to throw out a lawsuit that focuses on the latest version of the state's bathroom bill. But dismissing it their way would also dissolve a proposed deal pushed by the Democratic governor to let transgender people use many public restrooms that correspond to their gender identity. Governor Roy Cooper and the plaintiffs in the lawsuit, LGBT citizens and the civil rights group, asked U.S. District Judge Thomas Schroeder last week to approve a settlement that would end the litigation. But the agreement also would make it clear that transgender people can use restrooms aligned with the gender they identify with in state government buildings that Cooper controls. But House Speaker Tim Moore and Senate Leader Phil Berger, who worked out a compromise with Cooper last spring on House Bill 2, or defendants like Cooper, opposed the consent decree and wrote Monday that they intend to file a motion to that effect. Meanwhile, they told Schroeder on Monday in a brief that the lawsuit against the replacement law, known as House Bill 142, should be thrown out because the plaintiffs have shown they've been injured by the new law. HB 2, approved in March 2016, required transgender people to use restrooms in many public buildings corresponding to the sex on their birth certificates. The replacement law did away with that mandate, but stated that the General Assembly, not local governments or school officials, were permitted to make rules for public restrooms. It also prohibits local governments from enacting new non-discrimination ordinances for workplaces, hotels, and restaurants until December 2020. LGBT activists who had already sued over HB 2 amended their lawsuit and said the new law leaves it unclear which bathrooms transgender people will be able to use in government buildings and universities, and whether using the wrong one could lead to criminal charges. The plaintiffs claimed injuries are speculative. Lawyers Robert Potter Jr. and Kyle Duncan wrote on behalf of other GOP leaders to Schroeder. It is unclear whether any plaintiff will ever be injured in any way arising from using the facilities in question. Forcing officials to ensure public restrooms can be used by transgender people in line with their gender identity and to allow local governments to keep passing non-discrimination ordinances would wrongly ignore state law. Ultimately, the proposed consent decree appears to reflect a collusive effort to obtain by court decree what plaintiffs have been unable to obtain by litigation, and the Cooper administration could not obtain legislative, they wrote last Friday in a separate brief. Cooper made HB 2's repeal a key element in his winning gubernatorial campaign last year against Republican Governor Pat McCrory, who signed HB 2. Groups supporting the rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people celebrated Cooper's victory, but within months scolded Cooper for agreeing to HB 142 because it wasn't a full repeal.
Oh, I guess we'll never hear the end of that. But, of course, one cannot change one's DNA.
Fine, thank you.
Here is a Chemours permit not suspended by the state. State agency notified the Bladen County Plan Tuesday that the state is not suspending the company's discharge permit. The State Department of Environmental Quality said in a statement that at this time it would leave in place Chemours' wastewater discharge permit. Unbelievable. Last month, state officials stated that the process to suspend Chemours' permit because the state said the company failed to adequately disclosed the release of Gen X, a potentially harmful chemical, into the river. The state had to give the company a 60-day notice before suspending the permit. Studies have linked Gen X to testicular, pancreatic, and liver cancer in animals, but it is not known whether those effects would be the same in humans. The company stopped dumping Gen X in the river after the state launched an investigation in June. Chemours also agreed last month to stop dumping similar chemicals into the river. A Chemours spokesman responded to Tuesday's announcement with a one-sentence statement. "We continue to work closely with local, state, and federal officials to determine the appropriate next steps," the statement said. The company has released similar statements in response to other issues related to Gen X. Linda Culpepper, the deputy director of the Department of Environmental Quality Division of Water Resources, notified Chemours of the decision not to suspend the permit in a letter to Ellis H. McGaughey, the plant manager. DEQ will continue to monitor the performance of all required remedial measures by Chemours, Culpepper said in the letter. State officials started an investigation into Gen X after news broke that researchers had discovered the compound in the river last year. The chemical has now been detected at elevated levels in 35 of 105 private wells near the Chemours plant, which is off North Carolina 87 in Bladen County, near the Cumberland County line. The company is providing bottled water to residents with water that has high levels of Gen X. Well, I wouldn't want to bathe in it either. State officials also are trying to determine if the compound was released into the air at the plant. Researchers found Gen X more than 20 miles away from a Chemours plant in a West Virginia plant. Scientists concluded that the study suggested that Gen X is contaminating the environment there through the air. At least 3 lawsuits have been filed against Chemours related to Gen X. Well, aren't we lucky to be so close? Staff writer Steve Devane can be reached at 486-3572. Call Steve Devane at 486-3572. Tell him what you think about this awful scandal.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayeteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029. If you have any questions or comments, please call 910-672-1600. Your radio hosts are
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson. We are proud to serve you today.
Here we have a picture of Pat Reese. This should have probably been with that article I already read about the Myover Reese establishment. Bill Fry eulogizes Pat Reese, shown at left in a 1980 photograph. It's a large photograph on a stand from a play at the Cape Fear Regional Theater during a November 3, 2000 memorial service at the theater. And here's an article that says, "Family says Trump sent $25K promised after soldier's death." Zebulon. President Donald Trump has sent a $25,000 check months after promising the gift during a June condolence call to a Zebulon man whose son was killed in Afghanistan. Christopher and Jesse Baldridge confirmed receiving the check that Trump pledged after Army Sergeant Dylan Baldridge was killed in Afghanistan. television stations WTDV and WRAL reported. Christopher Baldridge declined Monday evening to discuss the check with an Associated Press reporter who visited his home. Last Wednesday, the Washington Post quoted Christopher Baldridge as saying the check hadn't come since the president called about his son. The check bore the date that the story was published, WTVD reported. Jesse Baldridge said the check arrived in a FedEx package with the return address from the Trump Organization. The parcel also contained a letter on White House letterhead and Trump's signature. The letter read, "Dear Christopher, I am glad my legal counsel has been able to finally approve this contribution to you. Enclosed is a check for $25,000. I hope this will make things a bit easier, but nothing will ever replace your son Dylan. He was an American hero." Jesse Baldridge said the couple never really expected Trump to send the check. "We got a condolence letter from him that there was no check, and we kind of joked about it," she told WTVD. "We didn't take to social media and did not complain." The couple planned to use the money to start a foundation honoring Dylan's legacy, she said. "We'll bless you for doing that." We have Aldi. I'm going to tell you about Aldi. And we don't seem to have any more articles to read, and Ralph's gone again. $2.99 Michigan Honeycrisp apples. That's for a 2-pound bag. Tomatoes on the vine, $1.49, 99 cents. $6.99 Tyson Fresh Pork Roast Kit. And $4.99 for Cookwood Fresh. Are all the articles finished? Can you get anything else out of it to read?
24 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I got one over there. Let's see.
That's it. And here's the fresh Kobe style 85% lean ground beef. Oh my goodness, look at the price at $5.99 to get lean ground beef. Okay. Fresh farm raised coho salmon, $9.99 for a pound. Ooh, and then there's 89 cents for pomegranates. They're so beautiful to have around for decorating or eating. And there's Mexican avocados for only 69 cents. And tomatoes on the vine, $1.49 for a 24-ounce package. If you like microfiber sheets, you can get 100% polyester sheets, $18.99 each. And a home memory foam pillow, $12.99. I don't know what it looks like. It looks kind of rubbery. Oh, it's foam. I already said that it was foam. And here are some things that are Venus flytrap you can get for $4.99. Supreme Digital Weather Station, $19.99. Easy Home Cool Mist Humidifier, $19.99. Oh, here's a nice thing. The Aldi Ambiano Portable Induction Cooktop. I just bought 4 of those. This one is $34.99. And for $19.99 you can get a Crofton 12-quart porcelain enamel stockpot. For $29.99 you can get a Crofton cast iron 6-quart Dutch oven in a beautiful blue or a beautiful red, and $29.99 also for the cast iron 5-quart brazier, cast iron grill pan or 12-inch fry pan, $12.99, and Crofton's 2-piece cutlery set, $16.99. Quite a few things for your bath and kitchen: a shower stool, home laundries. There's woven water hyacinth basket, $9.99. 2-piece reversible bath rug set, $9.99. Easy Door Home Over the Door Towel Rack, $9.99. Easy Home 2-tier Cabinet Organizer, $9.99. And let's look up here and see what we've got for the ladies. Sarah Lady's poncho, $9.99. A canvas tote for $9.99. Sarah Lady's fall ankle length jegging. I think it means leggings. It says jeggings. But anyway, we'll forgive that. They have size small all the way to extra large. Royal Class men's slippers, 9 to 13. Royal Class men's sleep pants, $6.99. 2 pair of fuzzy slipper socks for the ladies, $6 to $10. And slippers, Sarah Lady's Booty slipper sizes, $8.99. I might just go up there for that. And look at this. Take and bake pizzas for $4.99. They're on sale. They were $5.99. They are now $4.99. Here's one that was $6.99, deli pizza, but now $4.99. Oh, they're begging me to come buy that one. I know they are. You can get appetizers, assorted varieties, now $1.49 of cheese sticks or cheddar stuffed cheese, and $2.49 for a little salad bar chopped salad kit, sweet kale chopped salad kit, and Asian chopped salad kit, or a Caesar salad kit for $1.99. And it appears that you can really get a good bargain on the pizzas. You can get Coca-Cola Diet Sprite or Diet Coke 12-ounce cans in a box, and you can get 3 for $10 if you go to Aldi's through 10/31.
Okay, let's run on down here to Carly C's, where you can get 6-pack of 16-ounce bottles of Pepsi products, 5 for $10. Family pack pork spare ribs, $1.88 a pound. Fritos or Cheetos, 79-ounce selected variety, 9.5 to 10-ounce selected Lay's chips. And they don't have a price there, so don't know what it would be. Alright, here's one with a price. Hall's $5.99, or whole pineapple coconut cake, $9.99. I love coconut cake. Pineapple too. Mayfield ice cream, 48-ounce selected, $2.25. That's a steal of a deal. What about 18-ounce selected Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce for $1.38? Duncan Hines cake mix, 89 cents. Kellogg's cereal, 12-ounce boxes, 2 for $4. You can get you some Frosted Flakes or whatever else. What about some Charmin Essentials bath tissue? Some people call it toilet tissue, $4.99. And fresh fryer leg quarters, 48 cents a pound. Boneless filet mignon steak, $7.98 a pound. Carly C's boneless Angus beef filet mignon, $9.98 a pound. Fiji apples, 89 cents a pound. Sweet and crisp. All this at Carly C's. And let's look on the back here for fresh produce. 5-pound bag of all-purpose russet potatoes, 2 for $4. Fresh produce, tropical avocados, 99 cents each. Iceberg head lettuce, 99 cents. 3-pound bag of yellow onions, $1.29. Hot house cucumbers, 99 cents each. What about strawberry slushies, 3 for $1. Also, $1 off a Maxwell House Wake Up Roast Coffee. Classico pasta sauce, 50 cents off one. Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, $1 off two, but they don't give you the price of the whole thing, so whatever. And also at the Food Line, meat and seafood, boneless beef roast rump, $3.48 a pound. Bottom round roast, $3.18 a pound. Boneless beef. Boneless beef bottom round steaks, $3.38 a pound. Ground round, $3.48 a pound. New York strip steak burger, $3.98 a pound. Oscar Mayer deli fresh lunch meat, 2 for $7. Is that a deal or what? Oscar Mayer Lunchables, 2 for $3. Jumbo meat wieners by Oscar Mayer, 2 for $3. Armour meat hot dogs, 12 ounce, 78 cents. Armour beef hot dogs, 12 ounce, $2.79. Pepperoni, Armour sliced pepperoni, 5 for $5. Also, Armour meatballs, that's 12 ounces beef, 14 ounce Italian, 2 for $5. 4 pounds of Armour meatballs, $9.49. You can just go pick out on some meatballs. 4 pounds of it for $9.49. All that at, you called it, the Carly Seeds.
Here is an article that we gummed up from somewhere, I guess, and I find it interesting. Trump's refugee ban ends, and a new screening rules are coming. I look forward to learning about that. Washington. President Donald Trump's 4-month worldwide ban on refugees ended Tuesday, officials said, as his administration prepared to unveil tougher new screening procedures. Under an executive order Trump signed earlier this year, the United States had temporarily halted admissions for refugees from all countries, with some exceptions. The end date written into the order came and went Tuesday, with no new order from Trump to extend it, according to a State Department official who wasn't authorized to comment by name and requested anonymity. Refugees seeking entry to the U.S. will face what officials described as more stringent and thorough examination of their backgrounds, in line with Trump's extreme vetting policy for immigrants. The Homeland Security Department, the State Department, and other U.S. agencies have been reviewing the screening process during the temporary ban. The new screening procedures were to be announced later Tuesday. It was unclear exactly what measures would be added, but in the past officials have spoken about examining applicants' social media posts and other investigative measures to identify those who may sympathize with extremists or pose a national security risk to the United States. Well, that's an excellent idea. I never thought of that. Refugees already face an extensive backlog and waiting periods that can take years. Additional screening would likely extend the timeline. Even with the ban lifted, refugee admissions are expected to be far lower than in recent years. Last month, Trump capped refugee admissions at 45,000 for the fiscal year that started October 1st, a cut of more than half from the 110,000 limit put in place the year earlier by President Barack Obama. And the actual number admitted this year could be far lower than Trump's $45,000 cap, which sets a maximum but not a minimum. In a separate action Tuesday, the U.S. Supreme Court dismissed a case about the refugee ban. An order from the justices wipes away a lower court ruling that found problems with the refugee ban and with a temporary pause on visitors from 6 Muslim countries. A new travel policy that applies to 6 countries with Muslim majorities already has been blocked by lower courts. While courts have repeatedly blocked the broader travel ban on people from several countries, they have largely left the temporary travel ban in place. And that's the temporary refugee policy that is in place. Trump has made limiting immigration the centerpiece of his policy agenda. In addition to the travel ban, which initially targeted a handful of Muslim majority nations, the president rescinded an Obama-era executive action protecting young immigrants from deportation and vowed to build a wall along the southern border with Mexico. During his presidential campaign, Trump pledged to stop the massive inflow of refugees and warned that terrorists were smuggling themselves into naive countries by posing as refugees fleeing war-torn Syria. Thousands of refugees are being admitted with no way to screen them and are instantly made eligible for welfare and free health care, even as our own veterans, our great veterans, die while they're waiting online for medical help that they desperately need, Trump said last October. Don't you sometimes wonder why all these men coming don't join some force to save their country? Do you ever wonder that, Ralph?
Yes, I do.
Why aren't they trying to save their country?
Don't ask me. I don't know.
Don't understand it either.
But here are some that are. Fort Bragg soldiers returned from 9-month deployment. Nearly 150 Fort Bragg soldiers returned from the 525th Expeditionary Military Intelligence Brigade returned from Afghanistan. Families and friends of the soldiers welcomed their troops home shortly after midnight at Green Ramp. For the past 9 months, the soldiers led intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance operations across Afghanistan in support of coalition and Afghan forces, including Special Operations Forces. Colonel Daniel J. Bennick, the commander who led the soldiers home to Fort Bragg, said the brigade had a clear impact on efforts to defeat terror networks, combat the illegal drug trade, and protect coalition troops. I am immensely proud of their accomplishments throughout their deployment, conducting full-spectrum intelligence operations across the country to protect the force, neutralize insurgent threats, and defeat enemy networks in support of good governance and security in Afghanistan. The brigade's headquarters and headquarters support company oversaw efforts in Afghanistan, leading nearly 250 soldiers and civilians. The bulk of those troops came from the brigade's 519 Expeditionary Military Intelligence Battalion, led by Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Cork, which is also based at Fort Bragg. Early Tuesday, the brigade and battalion uncased their colors in a short ceremony at Green Ramp, marking the end of deployments that began in March. 9 months.
Okay, you did Harris Teeter, right? Did we do Charlie C?
Did not do Harris Teeter, we did Carly
Well, I
C.
see it up here. Okay, well,
Yeah.
you take this one and I'll try not to double up here. Did we not do this? Food Lion.
Didn't do Food Line.
Okay. Well,
82nd podcast explores the evolution of Veterans Day. A special Veterans Day episode of the 82nd Airborne Division's All-American Legacy podcast will be released next month. Episode 42 of the series, which celebrates the 82nd centennial, will be titled Armistice I, The Story of Veterans Day. It will be available on November the 11th. Veterans Day, a national holiday observed every year on November the 11th, honors the accomplishments of American veterans from all our nation's wars. A description of the episode reads, Veterans Day is a celebration of the men and women who keep us free, but it wasn't always so. Veterans Day started off as a commemoration of the end of World War I, and due to the war's brutality, was a somber reflection of the cost of combat. Like the day itself, the 82nd also was born out of World War I, formed as the 82nd Infantry Division to fight in the Great War. In the episode, 82nd spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Joe Bacino will be joined by historian Joe Cohee and Penn State historian Professor Phil Nash to discuss the evolution of Veterans Day. Our understanding of Veterans Day has changed, as has our understanding of the nature of war. After World War II, the holiday became appropriately festive and less silent. Officials said in 1950, World War II was still fresh in America's collective mind. America was moving toward a new prosperity and didn't fully understand a new conflict in Korea. For the first time, Veterans Day was largely ignored. Vietnam veterans served in combat during a troubled time for our nation. Those soldiers returned from a war to a country divided. Veterans Day during the Vietnam War often featured argument and protest. Today, thankfully, we recognize the heroic self-sacrifice of all veterans. officials said. As a nation, we now recognize that the circumstances in which they fought are not nearly as important as their selfless service to our nation. The free podcast is available through iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and various other services. To find the podcast, go to iTunes at tiny.cc/AAFP iTunes. Google Play at tiny.cc/AALP Google Play.
Well, here's Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Here are some really great gift ideas today. If you like to do your Christmas shopping early and stay out of the crowds, I do. I don't enjoy the crowds at all. But Ollie's Bargain Outlet, and here's a Halloween kind of figure that says, "I want to save you money." Okay, one of the things, Harry and David. What's the story? Harry and David, a very high-end gourmet retailer, had excess packaging. They called Ollie's, and we worked out a deal to sell Harry and David's ultra premium sweets and world-famous Moose Munch at 50% savings from their regular retails. So you can get Moose Munch available in milk chocolate, dark chocolate, or caramel for $3.99 instead of $9.99. Here's a good Christmas present. Heck, I would just buy 10 of these and do all my Christmas shopping. A Himalayan salt lamp, 8 inches tall, reduces allergens, purifies air quality for $9.99. Elsewhere you'll find them for $19.99. Coffee House single serve coffee buyout, less than 25 cents per cup. Mucinex for $5.99. Elsewhere it's $11.99. Comfort Zone infrared heater, $69.99. Others $129.99. A triple basket deep fryer. I hate to read that, but this one's $29.99 and somebody else's is $69.99. I don't think anything should be deep fried, but that's just me. Rowenta iron, $19.99. Others $59.99. The sales are terrific. Here's an 8-foot cup food processor for $19.99. Others are $29.99. Aroma 14-cup rice cooker, $19.99. Others are $32.99. A wax melt warmer plug-in works with most waxes is $59.99. And a Yankee candle is $6.99 at Aldi's, and others are $10.88. We can also get wax melts for $1.49 and elsewhere from American Home instead of $3.88. In the bath towels, bamboo bath towels, $6.99. Others are $9.99. Collection of area rugs for $12.99. Department store luxury comforter set closeout, $49.99. And $2.4 million at fancy store prices electric blanket and throw buyout. Bidenford manufacture electric blankets for all fancy department stores. When they called us up with excess inventory, we took it. Don't get heated over the fancy stores' prices. We'll warm up with these. Okay, full is $48.99, queen is $59, and heated throws are $26.99. And that's a very nice thing to have. Bath rugs, non-skid back, a machine wash are $6.99, others are $19.99. I wonder what these bamboo towels are like. Bamboo towels are sustainable, eco-friendly fabric, not to mention amazingly soft and absorbent. 60% rayon from bamboo and 40% cotton. Okay. Draft stoppers for $4.79 and area rugs $12.99. A lot of toys on sale also, And heaters, mini zone fireplace, $24.99. A personal heater by Holmes, $12.99, and a quartz heater for $34.99. All the there's a copper buyout as well with extremely good prices, especially the square pan set at $27.99. Non-stick copper, excellent price there. And I bought one and I love it. Do you want to read us?
You just keep reading until I cut you off.
Alrighty. Would you like to have a, let's see what I didn't mention. The copper buyout is especially good. You can get a vac system, $59.99. Theirs is $159.99. Well, how on earth did they do that? Oh, good. It's the. This
concludes our broadcast of the Fayeteville Observer. Your radio hosts have been
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson. Tune in this afternoon at 2 p.m. for articles from the Hope Mill Sandsburg and the Fort Bragg Light. At 4 p.m. you can listen to Off the Bookshelf. Today's Fayeteville Observer will be rebroadcast tonight at 9 p.m. We will now join the Raleigh Network for additional programming. Thank you for tuning us in. We've enjoyed being with you this morning. Have a wonderful day. There. That did it.
A little dab will do you there.